Hello, everybody. That's it. Hello, everybody. It's a great show. Thank you very much. Hey, this is Beyond Mount Rushmore, the history you didn't know you needed.
It sure is.
I'm Jeff Hickox, and across from me...
Hi, everybody. Hey, gang.
Our self-proclaimed presidential historian, Mr. Stan Nowell.
Hi, everybody.
Stan, how you doing, buddy?
I'm doing good. How are you doing? Evidently pretty good.
I'm in a happy mood.
That's good. That's good to hear. What are we talking about today?
That's your job.
Oh, yeah.
Stan.
Everybody, especially if you're old enough to remember the day, November 22nd, 1963, everybody who was alive then knew exactly where they were when they heard the news that President John F. Kennedy had been assassinated.
Yes.
I'm going to let everybody know right off the bat here, we're not going to go into another Kennedy podcast. I mean, every other history podcast is a Kennedy podcast and what happened.
Right, exactly. We're not going to dissect the assassination.
What we're going to go and take a look at, and people forget this, especially now, those who weren't even alive when it happened.
Right.
There was somebody else in that presidential limousine who was shot and nearly died.
Yeah.
And is often forgotten when talking about the JFK assassination. And that is Governor John Connally, who was the governor of Texas at the time. He and his wife, Nellie, were in that presidential limousine.
Yes, they were.
And think about this. We've got the Zapruder film. We've got witnesses. We've got experts. We've got ballistic people. There were 4 eyewitnesses, not counting the Secret Service that was in the car and the trailing car. But you got 4 people who witnessed the assassination in real time as it happened. John F. Kennedy died. He'll never tell you. Jackie, you'll never know exactly what was said. Her stuff is locked up for 100 years, and you're never going to hear exactly what she had to say.
Yeah.
The 2 other people who were in the car right next to the First Lady and the President were John Connally and his wife, Nellie.
Yeah.
And they lived quite a long time after the assassination and went into great detail about what was said, what was going on in that car. So we have a good record of what was going on.
We do. I mean, a very good record, actually, because they've spoken often about it.
Of course, the whole reason John F. Kennedy was in Dallas, in Texas, for that matter, was political.
Right.
The 64 election was coming up. He was not liked in Texas. And they went to San Antonio, Houston, Fort Worth, and then Dallas. They were going to go in Dallas from Love Field to the Dallas Trade Mart where he was going to give a speech.
Gotcha.
And the motorcade just was the route from Love Field to the Trade Mart.
Okay.
This whole trip was so orchestrated because he left Fort Worth, Texas to go to Dallas. The president did. And it's a short drive. But no, they geared up Air Force One. They geared up Air Force Two. They all flew for 10 minutes in the air to land at Love Field. Everybody got off the plane ahead of time.
A big presentation
and
out of that.
Every city he went to, they did the same routine. Get him off the plane, have him waiting, give Jackie some roses, shake hands, and it's like, they're just arrived. They were doing this for 2 days.
Right, it's a political thing. You said
it was totally political. But we're stuck on Dallas.
Yeah.
And, of course, we remember the First Lady and her pink outfit, her pillbox hat. But John Connally and his wife, Nellie, were lost in all of this.
Yeah.
John Connally, born February 27th, 1917, Floresville, Texas.
Oh, he's a Texan through and through.
He was the state's 39th governor. Now our story.
Let's do it. I'm ready. Tell me about him.
As I told you, complete production in the trip. The 4 cities that they went to, same routine, every one of them. As I told you, Fort Worth to Dallas, quick trip. They could have driven it.
I mean, they call it now. It's called Dallas Fort Worth.
Yes, it is.
Very quick.
In the late morning on November 22nd, 1963, they landed at Love Field and they took off in their motorcade. 9.5 miles.
Okay. From there to
the Dallas Trade Mart.
Gotcha.
The president would attend a luncheon at the Trade Mart, give a speech. In that presidential limousine sat a driver, a Secret Service agent. They were up in the front seat. Mm-hmm. The president and Jackie were in the rear bench seat.
Okay.
And if you were ever in an old limousine, you'd know on the floor, if there were extra people, you pull away the carpet, lift up the back, and jump seats would pop up.
Okay.
Temporary portable seats that you could sit in.
Like the minivans actually have that now.
Yeah. And that's where Governor Connally and his wife Nellie sat. Connally was directly in front of the president. Nellie was directly in front of the first lady.
Okay. Makes sense.
Other cars that trailed behind in the motorcade contained Secret Service agents. The vice president, Lyndon Johnson, was a couple of cars behind.
In a separate vehicle.
He's in there with Lady Bird Johnson.
Okay.
The second lady.
Second lady, right.
Along the route were several motorcycle police as well on their motorcycles.
We've all seen the film.
Yeah. Crowds were loud and enthusiastic in some areas, especially downtown, 10 deep.
Yeah.
To go and see the First Lady and the President and the Governor and First Lady of Texas. As the motorcade moved through Dealey Plaza, heading in the direction of the triple overpass, which would take them on the highway to go to the Trade Mart.
So they were getting onto the highway at this point.
They were approaching it.
Gotcha.
Now, we do know this. The president was shot in his back and in his head, and he died. Jackie was unhurt. Nellie Connally was unhurt. The same could not be said for John Connally.
Right.
Yeah, he got shot in Dealey Plaza, November 22nd, 1963. The governor was shot by a bullet that entered his right armpit.
Okay.
Exited through his lung and out his chest.
Ouch.
In doing so, shattered 4 inches of rib, entered his forearm, traveled to his wrist, shattering it, and then lodging into his left thigh. That's what happened to him.
That's a lot of bullet damage right there.
So this is allegedly the shot. It goes through the president's back, out his throat, and then does all of this damage to John Connally.
Wow, that seems okay.
Here, I love that we have sound because these people lived long enough to give multiple interviews.
Yes.
Here is Nellie Connally.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Talking about her husband's wounds and how he should have been dead.
My husband was hurt very badly, and I wanted to do something to help him, but I didn't know what to do. So I just pulled him over as best I could. He was too big a man for that little area, and pulled him over across my lap. So he's lying there, face up. One of his hands that had always had his Stetson in it was up on his chest. And then I put mine over and pushed him down. And the doctors said after we got to the hospital that if we hadn't done that, that wound was called a sucking wound, and that it sucks air in. And by putting our hands over his chest, we closed the wound.
Wow.
And they said John probably would have died before we got to the hospital. That was the second shot. Really tore him up.
Did you hear what she said?
She said that was the second shot.
Shot.
Yeah.
I want everybody to hear what she is saying. And it's not somebody that was on the curb. It's not somebody that was in a building looking. It wasn't somebody watching the Zapruder film, which is silent.
Right.
She said it was the second shot.
She was in the car.
Here is John Connally, the former governor of Texas.
There's no way that bullet could have hit me. I reacted to that first shot. I heard it. I turned, and I had turned back before I was hit. No way. That bullet going through his neck could not have been slowed more than a fraction of a second. In my opinion, it's totally impossible for the first bullet to have hit him in the neck and hit me in the back.
Now, according to the Warren Report, the Warren Report was the official government report on the assassination in the 60-plus years since. A lot of holes have been blown into it. But the Warren Report, named after Justice Earl Warren, Chief Justice, said there were only 3 shots fired in Dallas that afternoon. The first one missed, ricocheting off the curb and striking a pedestrian.
Oh, wow.
Caught him in the cheek. A piece of concrete caught him in the cheek.
Oh, not the bullet.
No.
Okay.
The second shot was called by the Warren Commission the magic bullet. What a bunch of crap. They called it the magic bullet. This supposedly caused all of the wounds to Kennedy, except the headshot, and all of the wounds to Governor John Connally. This one bullet.
Did he testify in the Warren Commission to that information?
Did. He
and
sure
you would
did.
think that he would know if he was shot with all of the wounds that he
was there.
Yeah.
Here's Nellie Connally again talking about that moment when her husband already saw him shot before he was shot.
I heard this loud noise. We are in jump seats that have a space between them. They're on a plank seat that they can raise and lower at will. So when I heard this noise, it came over my right shoulder, and I turned around. But I knew it was not a good noise. And I turned back just in time to see the president's hands fly up to his neck, and then he just sunk down a few inches in the car. John, who is seated in front of him, he knew that was a gunshot. And he turned to his right, but he couldn't see the president, who was directly behind him. So then he flipped to his left, and he still couldn't see him. And he said, "No, no, no," and turned back. And when he got about halfway back, the second shot hit John Connally.
Wow.
Not the way the story goes. And as I pointed out, that's his wife, who was sitting right next to him.
Right.
John Connally himself. From the time he was in the hospital bed to shortly before he died in 1993, never changed his story.
And about that time, I heard another shot, about that loud, a smack. And my eyes were open. I was conscious, and I saw the blue interior of this presidential limousine covered with blood and brain tissue.
Ooh.
And I knew that the president had been fatally hit. I knew it was the president because Ms. Kennedy said, she just screamed, "My God, I've got his brains in my hand."
Oh, God.
You know, it couldn't be a more horrible experience.
He was so close to death when they examined him. They said, good that the bullet went through his lung because it missed his heart by a fraction of an inch and would have killed him instantly.
Jeez.
So the limo, president's shot.
Right.
The governor is shot.
Yes.
The limo speeds off to go to Parkland Hospital. They immediately went into the back. Jackie had his head covered. The Secret Service agent, Clint Hill, also covered his head with the jacket and brought him into trauma room number 1.
Yeah, okay.
Governor Connally is in the jump seat. His wife is cradling him.
Keeping him alive.
According to her, because we don't have any video of this at all, He jumped himself right out of the car.
What?
And started to walk out of the car and go into the emergency room, where he collapsed and went unconscious.
I guess so.
Nellie Connally says she was in shock, sitting in the car, not knowing what to do. She finally came to her senses when John Connally came to again, and she heard him on the gurney saying, "It hurts, it hurts." She says that's when she got out of the car and went to follow him.
Wow. I mean, I'm sure John Connally was in shock, which is why he probably jumped out when he got to the hospital.
Precisely. Yeah. You are absolutely correct. After the governor went into trauma room number 2, they're right next, trauma 1, Kennedy's in there. Trauma room 2 is where the governor went. The story goes that an orderly was said to have found a bullet slug on Governor Connally's gurney. It was virtually undamaged.
Oh, that's weird.
The orderly was said to have given it to a Secret Service agent, and that slug became the magic bullet.
But it was undamaged, virtually.
It was the basis of the entire Warren Commission report.
How could it go through 2 men, hit several things, including bones, and not be damaged?
What they say, if you look at, you can have, it's, I believe the magic bullet is in the National Archives.
Okay.
You can look at pictures of it. To look at it in a 2-dimensional photograph, it's undamaged, it's got the striations on it, and it's got a little piece of fragment missing from it. And if you looked at it sideways, it's flattened a little bit. Okay. It's like if it went into somebody, it went in sideways. But the bullet should have been much more fragmented than it was.
Right.
Ribs, 4 inches of ribs broken,
wrist.
Back, wrist, leg. How can that? Well, it all gets blown to bits again because of former Secret Service agent Paul Landis. Just 2 years ago, in 2023, keep in mind, he's the last surviving Secret Service agent that was there. Clint Hill passed away right around the same time. But
Clint Hill's the only one I knew of.
Landis was there on the car. The car behind them was full of Secret Service agents.
So Landis was one of those gentlemen in the car behind.
Yes, he was. Yep. And he wrote a book that blows this magic bullet theory completely out of the water. Most of the main headlines that you read from the mainstream news said Landis finally admits he's the one that planted the magic bullet.
What?
And if you go and dig further into it, what bullet? And follow me on this. Okay. And I want everybody to be listening to this that think that it's all cut and dry and everything that's been said has been said. Landis claimed just in 2023, 60 years later, that when he went to the limousine, once it reached Parkland Hospital, he went to the back of the limousine, and he said that he immediately saw some other bullet fragments.
Okay.
He also immediately saw the pristine bullet.
Okay. So he saw shattered fragments from a bullet, and he saw this bullet as well.
And he saw that bullet lying in the seat. He put it in his pocket. He got shoved and pushed with the mayhem into trauma room number 1.
Okay.
Where he said, I got this bullet. I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah.
I'm going to put it on the exam table. The doctors will surely find the bullet. Then they can go and do all they want to do at the autopsy. I've got a clip of Secret Service agent Landis.
Yeah.
And I want you to hear what he says at the end of this clip.
Okay.
This was recorded just a couple of years ago by the man who claims he found the magic bullet and didn't tell anybody for 60 years.
Okay.
I glanced down on the seat next to Mrs. Kennedy on her left, between her and the door. And there was a pool of blood there. And there were two bright, shiny bullet fragments in that pool of blood. I picked up the larger of the two and looked at it. It was about the size of the tip of my pinky finger. About that time, as soon as she stood up to leave the limo, on the top of the seat, there was a fully intact bullet. I took that bullet, kind of forced or shoved into trauma room 1 behind President Kennedy's body. And for the short period of time we were in there, I started thinking, I realized that this was an important piece of evidence that should be left with the president's body. They would find it during the autopsy. I didn't relate this to the bullet going through and hitting Governor Connally and doing all the damage to him. That had to be a different bullet, because that bullet would have been all shattered and would not have been in the pristine condition of the bullet that I found.
It also wouldn't be in the back seat.
No, it had to be a different bullet. Yeah. If that was the pristine bullet, it had to be a different bullet, because it wasn't this one. It caused far too much damage.
Yeah. I mean, that's obvious.
And again, the bullet went into Connally's thigh initially, and it was supposedly found on his gurney, not left in trauma room 1 on the exam table. What the heck is going on?
Yeah. Confusion, maybe, but that seems odd, that's for sure. There's a lot going on at that time.
Connally was in the hospital, out of it. The shooting happened on a Friday.
Okay.
He did not wake up until Sunday, when he said the television in his hospital room was on, and the funeral for JFK was on. That's when he realized.
So that was not just 2 days later, that you're talking about 9 days later? Friday
to Sunday.
Okay. So the funeral was that fast.
Yeah. Oh.
I didn't realize that.
I got him buried fast. From the moment John Connally was able to see visitors, and we've told you this, visitors, reporters, he never changes his story. He told the Warren Commission, he testified at the Warren Commission and at the Select Committee in the 70s that 2 different bullets hit the president and him.
How do they just ignore his eyewitness information? I don't understand that.
They ignored a lot of eyewitness information.
Okay.
Stuff that was completely... I'm going to say this.
Okay.
Because keep in mind, they accused Lee Harvey Oswald very quickly of the assassination.
Right.
First, it was Officer Tippit, who was a patrol officer that he allegedly killed with a handgun. And then he was then charged with killing the president, which he was surprised by. In 48 hours, he's picked up mysteriously.
Yeah.
And he's taken out by Jack Ruby.
I'm a patsy.
And Jack Ruby, you want to talk about the Warren Commission when they were putting their stuff together. Jack Ruby feared for his life and said, I would like to talk to you guys, but get me out of Dallas. Yeah. Take me to Washington, D.C., and I'll tell you everything you want to know. And they ignored him.
Of course they did.
They ignored so many people. There were witnesses on the overpass. There were witnesses in the train yard who saw a lot of different things, and they did testify.
Yeah.
But they were ignored. They were set on a single bullet, 1 gunman. And again, I'm not getting into the conspiracy of this. We're talking about John Connally.
Right, yes.
And he, a witness to his own shooting, said it was a different bullet.
And they ignored him.
I'm going to believe him.
I am going to as well.
Connally became, well, you can imagine, became very religious after he was shot and survived.
Most people would be.
He believed he had been saved by God for a reason. He wrote, now I feel that, rather than being elected, maybe I'm the one of God's elected. The good Lord chose to leave me here, so I figure I'm one of God's elect.
Oh, I like that.
He finished his term as governor of the state of Texas, choosing not to run for a fourth term. He left in January of 1969. They were the governor of Texas, 2-year terms. At that time, I don't know if it's changed.
Okay.
Now, there was some talk of Governor Connally being selected as Hubert Humphrey's running mate on the Democratic ticket in 1968, but they selected Senator Edmund Muskie from Maine, very liberal guy.
Yeah.
There were a lot of rumors flying around that because Connally was not selected as the VP, he was privately helping Nixon.
What?
Recruiting a number of influential Texas members of both parties to work for the Republican candidate.
Really?
Yeah.
So he's a Democrat.
Yeah.
Boy, that wouldn't happen now, would it?
No.
It's shot again if it happens.
Yeah. Think about that.
I know. It's incredible.
In 1971, Connally, as a Democrat, joined the Nixon administration as Secretary of the Treasury. But here's something that you also... History is really interesting if you go and peel away the onion.
Yeah. That's why we do the
what
show.
you're and what you're not taught in school.
Yeah.
Connally would not take the job as Nixon's Secretary of Treasury unless Nixon gave a job to George H.W. Bush. Also from Texas.
Yeah.
Connally felt that his taking the Treasury post would embarrass Bush, who was a Republican.
Oh, because he's a Democrat.
Yeah, and as he put it in his writings, Bush labored in the vineyards in Texas to get Nixon elected.
Yeah.
And so Connally says, you're giving me Secretary of the Treasury. I will not take this job until you give George H.W. Bush a position in your government.
Gave him a big one, I believe.
And he went and became ambassador to the United Nations under Nixon.
Yeah.
Thus starting the Bush family in politics.
Yeah, that's incredible.
Ben Barnes, who was then a lieutenant governor of Texas, claims in his autobiography that Connally's insistence saved Bush's political career, leading to the eventual presidency and indirectly to the presidency of his son, George W. Bush. It just went down the line.
Yeah, so, I mean, if you think about it, if that's true, if Bush wouldn't have been made the ambassador to the United Nations,
he would have gone into history.
Would have just gone nowhere, and that would have made Bush too as well.
In 1973, Connally officially switched parties and became a Republican.
Mm-hmm.
He was on Nixon's short list to be vice president after Spiro Agnew resigned, but Nixon chose Representative Gerald Ford,
right,
who was on the Warren Commission.
Oh, did not know that.
Yeah. In July 1974, things turned a little sour for John Connally. He was indicted for allegedly pocketing $10,000 from the dairy industry in exchange for influencing the government to increase federal dairy prices.
Oh, boy.
And when they go and indict you, they've got you second to none.
Dead to rights.
He was acquitted.
Huh.
Why was he acquitted?
Yeah.
His attorney, Your Honor, can we please bring in some character witnesses for Mr. Connally? They allowed it. Former Secretary of State Dean Rusk, former Defense Secretary Robert McNamara, evangelist Billy Graham.
Oh.
They all said, what a fine man this is.
What does that do to the facts?
But when does facts ever matter? Oh, and by the way, the attorneys for John Connally said, Your Honor, we also have a couple of more people to give credibility to our man being wrongfully accused.
Oh, boy.
Please allow First Ladies Lady Bird Johnson and Jackie Kennedy to vouch for him as well. So what are you going to do? Convict this guy?
Nope. You have a nice day, sir.
Yep. You go on with the rest of your life.
Wow.
I mean,
pulled out the big guns.
That's a list. That's
a list.
Yeah, he got off. He was acquitted. Connally himself attempted to run for president in 1980.
Right.
And boy, did he gather a lot of money and huge momentum. He raised more money in 1980 with the Republican candidates than any of them.
Wow.
But he was never able to overtake Ronald Reagan as the front runner.
Yeah.
So he said, I'm going to step out of this race. Who did Reagan choose as his running mate? George H.W. Bush. Thank you, Governor Connally. It's all tied in.
So
Reagan chooses Bush, which continues the family legacy.
Yeah.
And you keep in mind also.
I'm just saying, Connally said, I'll drop out if you put, maybe, if you put Bush as your VP.
And
Texas
Bush, right. And Bush knew a hell of a lot. You got to realize he was the head of the CIA, too.
Yes.
He knows the Book of Secrets.
Yes, he does. did know.
Now, withdrawing from the presidential race in 1980, Connally basically stepped back from public life, but he continued as a behind-the-scenes elder statesman that wheeled and dealed in the state of Texas and politically for a long, long time. When he spoke, a lot of his critics were, it's all because he was in the Kennedy limo. Others said, no, he's one of the elder statesmen of Texas, and he wields a big stick.
It's probably a little bit of both.
On May 17th, 1993, Connally began to have trouble breathing and was admitted to the Houston Methodist Hospital in Houston, where he died from pulmonary fibrosis on June 15th, 1993, at the age of 76. He had a full, long life.
He did.
After November 22nd, 1963.
Yeah, that's another 30 years.
Despite the magic bullet theory, Connally lived with bullet fragments in his body the rest of his life. Here is something I had no idea about. And I told you before we started recording this, I thought I knew everything backwards and sideways about this, but there's always something that you learn.
Okay.
Keep in mind, the magic bullet that was supposed to have done all the damage to Kennedy and Connally, except for the headshot to JFK. Pristine bullet.
The undamaged bullet, yes.
But yet they found bullet fragments, and Connally lived his life with bullet fragments in his body.
Right.
Famed forensic pathologist, and I had the pleasure to interview this man, Dr. Cyril Wecht.
Okay.
And the Assassination Archives and Research Center petitioned at the time of Connally's death in 1993, petitioned Attorney General Janet Reno to let them finally recover the fragments from Connally's body before he was put to rest.
Yeah.
The Justice Department replied, that would be strictly up to the family. Nellie Connally is still alive.
She is.
She's always the one that said with her husband, different bullet.
Yeah.
Mrs. Connally, can we retrieve the fragments that your husband lived with all of these years and just have it analyzed? No. He was buried with the fragments.
Why would she do that?
I don't know. The family refused permission to remove the fragments of bullets. Connally's wife, Nellie, died in 2006. They are interred together at the Texas State Cemetery in Austin.
Wow.
Is that amazing?
What a life. What a crazy story.
It is.
What a circle, too. I mean, that's really something. You know, I was reading up on this before we did the episode. He lived with pain his whole life.
His whole life.
And you know that wasn't his only brush with death?
No?
Yeah. In World War II, he was a Navy veteran, he survived a kamikaze attack on the USS Essex.
He was a World War II veteran.
Yeah.
I mean...
Great stories, Dan.
And there are still unanswered questions.
Yeah.
2 magic bullets?
Just seems that story never ends, does it?
It never ends. It never ends. You know something else that never ends?
What's that?
Our episode in 2 weeks.
What's that? What's that going to be?
Was he our first gay president, or
Who?
was he not?
Who?
James Buchanan.
Oh.
Your
Was he?
LBGTQWXYZ community likes to say he was our first gay president.
I didn't know that.
He never married. He had a life partner.
Did he?
But was he gay? Not that there's anything wrong with that.
No, of course not.
In the 1850s, there might have been.
Yeah. Probably not as acceptable as it is today.
But there are people in the 21st century. Well, we already had our gay president, and as James Buchanan. There's as much evidence that he wasn't gay as there is that he was gay.
Huh.
I will go, as I always do, on a level playing field and ask you to be the judge.
We'll just present the evidence. You decide what it was.
That's right.
Right.
All right, and that's in 2 weeks.
All right.
You can outro us if you
This
want.
has been Beyond Mount Rushmore, the history you never knew you needed. Boy, we needed this one today. It was a good story.
Yeah, it was.
I'm Jeff Hickox. Across from me, our self-proclaimed presidential historian, Stan Nawalonik.
We'll see you in a couple of weeks, and then check us out on the website.
Yep,
you
the
got
Facebook
all
page.
the
We
stuff.
were on Facebook, Instagram, X, formerly known as Twitter, and all of them.
All right, we'll see you in 2 weeks.
TikTok, forgot that one.
TikTok.